Hello YouTube. So I do a quick follow-up video here. The other day I posted a video on how to turn two mobile radios into repeaters using my prototype interface board. Now that raises some questions on some forums. So this video is going to answer some of those questions. Now the first thing I want to mention is if you're interested in this type of interface board, I may have a version that's computer hookup and a version that's not computer hookup. Now let me explain. The video that I did the other day was the non-computer hookup version. You do not need any computer to make the interface board make these into a repeater. Now some people are not good with computers. They don't want to have to use a computer to make their mobile radios into repeaters. They don't want to have to program their interface board. They don't want to have to use repeater software. They just want to plug and play and turn these radios into a repeater. That's one of the purposes. But if you're interested in a board, whether it's a computer version or whether it's a non-computer version, shoot me an email. I'll post my email address down below. Let me know what version you may be interested in. Either version will be plug and play, meaning no soldering. There'd be two cables coming off. One's for receive radio, one is for transmit radio. That video that I did the other day was testing the sound, how the repeater sounds. I'll post that link in the description below. So I just want to mention that right off the bat. But some of the questions that were asked on the forum is, one of them is you can get a mobile radio that has built-in repeater functions. You go in the menu and you make it into repeater mode and you hook up the cables, the link cables, and away you go. Yes, there's radios out there you can do that. But this interface board gives you an advantage. And that advantage is you can use up to 6 different models. The mobile radio that can do that is only good for that particular model. This will let you use up to 6 different mobile radios. And let me explain what I mean by that. One of them is a TYT9000D. The other one is a Retevis RT9000D. And the other one is a Linko DR438 models. Now, these are GMRS versions. So there's also an amateur band or a ham radio. That's how I get 6 different radios. And you're probably wondering, well, why would I need to be able to do that? Well, let's say you start out with GMRS and down the road you get your ham license. Well, then you can get the radio that's compatible with the interface board, and you can still use interface board with that other radio. So that's one advantage of this interface board, up to 6 models. The other advantage is some of these radios go really cheap right before Christmas, and it gives you a selection to what model you want to pick. So let's say you're looking to get a cheap repeater setup, you can wait for those sales. So those are kind of the couple of advantages of using this type of interface board. Now I have to mention that the TYT9000 or the Retevis RT9000D does not come with the data port in the back. You have to buy this separately. I'm in the process of making these. I may have them for sale on my website. If I do get to that point, I will make a video on how to install these and how to purchase it. They're real simple. You pull the cover off, you take a sticker off, you feed this through, you mount this, you plug it into the board, and away you go. The TYT9000D and the Retevis RT9000D does not come with this cable. You got to get it separately. The Linko DR438 model does come with that, and I believe the ham version of that radio also comes with this cable already installed. So I want to mention that right away. Now the other question I got is, what about repeater ID? Well, let's talk about that for a moment. Even if you use the other radios that have the patch cord where you can link them together and change the radio into repeater mode, I don't believe those radios have built-in repeater ID either. But the good news is I did a video on how to get repeater ID to work wirelessly using a handheld and a computer. If you're within the repeater range, you can use a handheld. Now, also though, keep in mind that if this is going to be a private repeater, you do not need to have the repeater ID itself, if I recall the FCC rules correctly. So if you're going to have it on a farm, you're going to have it on a private campground, your hunting cabin, that just for family use only, the repeater does not need to ID itself. So keep that in mind on how you're going to use this. But if you are going to use it as an open repeater, I got a lot of videos on how to use a handheld to get your repeater ID to do it over that. You just program the handheld to this repeater frequency. Like I said, I got a lot of videos on how to do that. Now, the other question that I got is, what about remote shutoff? Let's talk about that for a moment. Even if this radio could do DTMF, that's not going to do any good if this radio is stuck on transmitting. Let's say this radio malfunctions and it's stuck on transmitting. It's dead keying. How do you shut it off? The easiest, cheapest way is to use a smart Wi-Fi outlet. You plug in the power supply into here, which feeds power to both radios. You get your phone out or your tablet. You go to the smart Wi-Fi app and you push a button and it shuts the repeater off. So that would be the easiest way to do that. Now, if there's no cell service, well, then you're going to have to, go up there and physically do that. But another thing that you should also do, though, these radios do have a TOT timer in them. They should be programmed regardless if you have remote access or not. And sometimes they can be programmed through the menu of the radio or the software. And let me kind of show you what I mean. Is right here as I have the RT9000D software up, and under the, get my mouse here going here, under the function setup right here, there's a spot that says TOT timer. You can go all the way from off to all the way for 30 minutes. I don't recommend 30 minutes. I would start with 4 minutes and see how that works for you. This will automatically cut the radio from transmitting, no matter if you're talking for 4 minutes straight or not. It's going to shut off the transmit and reset. So you should have that on anyways to start with. But I would program both radios with that. And what I mean by that is, let me go ahead and go to my radios here. Remember I said in that video, the benefit of using two mobile radios is you can program each radio to be a transmit radio or a receive radio. So let's say my transmit radio goes bad and I need to quickly switch them out. No big deal. I just switch the cables and back, go to my pre-selected frequency, and now I can easily switch my transmit radio can be my receive radio, and my receive radio can be my transmit radio. So that's how you do that. So that's what you would do there for, one way for remote would be to use a smart Wi-Fi outlet. And that brings me to the next question, is what about these radios are not 100% duty cycle? Well, let's talk about that. Now, unless you're going to use these radio as a police repeater or something where there's a heavy usage, most likely your setup is going to be just fine without worrying about 100% duty cycle. And what that means is it's a duty cycle on how long a rail can be keyed up without it needing to rest. So you got 100%, you got 50%, 60%, etc., etc. Again, unless you're going to use these radios on Chicago Police Department, I don't think you're going to have to really worry about that. But if that is a concern for you, what you can do on the transmit radio, get yourself a fan and have it blow on the heatsink to help keep the radio cool if your repeater is going to be that busy. But most likely, probably won't be that busy all the time. But that's one solution you can do on that if that's a concern. Another thing that people have asked was, what about antennas? Do I need to use two antennas? And the answer to that is no. You can get what they call is a duplexer. Make sure it's a 50-watt duplexer. And before you buy the duplexer, make sure the seller tunes the duplexer to the frequency you're going to use for your repeater. Send them a message and make sure you tell them that. You're only going to need one antenna. One radio goes to one end, and the other radio goes to the other end, and the way you go. So that's how you avoid using two antennas. Can you use two antennas? You can, but you got to worry about what they call descents, and that means the antennas interfere with each other, and they interfere with the receive sensitivity. You don't receive signals as good as you should. So there is a minimum required antenna distance, and I believe that's 30 feet. However, I would just recommend getting a duplexer, because the extra cost to buy another antenna and coax, you might as well put towards a duplexer to begin with and be done with it. So that's what I would recommend. Now, the other thing is, what about a power supply? Do I need an expensive power supply to do these? Because remember, these are 12-volt DC radios. What about a power supply? And I did a video about a year ago about a cheap, good power supply. And if you go to my forum, I have a link in there. This is the power supply. It does not come with the cigarette lighter plugs on it or the power cable. You got to put those on separately. This power supply is 30 amp, adjustable voltage, so you can adjust it to your 13 volts right here. It does have a built-in fan that does kick on when it gets hot. I've been using this power supply for a year now, and it works really good. At the time I bought this, it was like $25. So there you go. And that's how you would hook up your Wi-Fi, your smart Wi-Fi outlet. You'd plug it into this power supply right here, and that will kill the power to both radios to do a remote shutdown. So that is how I would do that for a power supply. So hopefully this video has been helpful. Again, if you are interested in interface board, shoot me an email. Let me know if you want the computer version or the non-computer version. We'll kind of see where it goes. I am, like I said, in the process of making up some cables. If I get to that point where I'm ready to sell them, I will post a video on how to purchase them and how to install them. It's real simple. So there you have it. Any questions or comments, please post them down below. Please subscribe. Thank you and have a good day.